We continue our reflection on life, death and life, an example that Jesus gave us in the teaching that this is what life is about. This is a lesson of life. I'm Roger from the MSC Mission Office and you're with Mission Alive. In our communities, we can have these moments of a death. It may be through the bushfires or the floods or the droughts. It may be a tragic accident where several people are killed, or a crime, a shooting in the midst of our community, which shocks us, depresses us, frightens us. And these are all a type of death. So in the midst of our life, we have these things that we have to cope with. In our families, of course, we can have all kinds of tragedies and things that affect us. People die. Maybe people die suddenly, which is harder. If an old person is ill for a long period of time and dies, it's not as hard as a sudden death. And then in some families, not one, over a period of time, maybe within a year or a couple of years, 2 or 3 people might die suddenly. That's a real shock. Sadness, grief. That's a type of death. In their life, they have this tragedy. As communities, as families, as extended families. And what we need to do, what the lesson is for us, is that this is not an interruption of life. It is part of life. And in the grief and the anger that brings, we enter fully into that. Jesus said, I've come to bring you life and life to the fullest. In the midst of this tragedy, this shock, this grief, we enter into that fully. And I often say with grief, if I'm going to be sorry, if I'm going to cry, I'm going to really cry. I'm going to enter right into the grief, because that is part of life. And it's an important part of life that we enter into that and live it, not avoid it. Because we will come out the other side and our life will be renewed. We'll take up our life again. We won't forget those tragedies. Same with sickness. We won't forget the sickness. And we might have long-term effects. Might have injuries that we don't fully recover from. But we get on with life. Because that's the secret of life. That's the lesson of life. There's life, there's death, and there's life. Whatever form it comes to us as a community and as individuals. Life, death, and life is a pattern of life. Thank you.